Hey guys, welcome to my next lecture of shares and dividends. Today we'll be discussing important solved examples related to type 1 sums or exercise 3A. A quick reminder for those of you who haven't already done this, please hit share, please subscribe, tell your friends about this channel. Whoever needs help in math, I'm really quick at covering concepts, so I save a ton of your time, and also you can end up being much better at math. All right, and secondly, go ahead and check out certain links in the description. One is follow my Instagram channel ICSE with PJ, and secondly, I put the link for a formula sheet, all the formulae that we'll be using in shares and dividends. All right, let's get started. Calculate the money. We have to calculate the money required to buy, or we have to calculate the investment when, in the first case, I want to buy n is equal to 350 shares, number of shares. Okay, they are at a face value or nominal value of 20 at a premium of 7. So MV is equal to NV plus premium. So that is rupees 27. Now it's very easy. So investment is equal to nothing but number of shares into MV. So that's 350 into 27. And this gives us rupees 350 into 27 turns out to be around rupees 9450. Next subpart. N is 275 shares. Alright. The nominal value is 60 at a discount of 10. MV is equal to NV minus discount. So we'll get rupees 50. Alright. The discount is 10. So investment turns out to be again N into MV. Very simple. That's 275 into 50. And what does this give us? This gives us rupees 13,750. Last subpart. N is 50 shares. The face value of the shares is 40 and quoted at 38.50. What do you mean by quoted at 38.50? Quoted at 38.50 means the MV or marked value is 38.50. So we have to calculate total investment. Again, it's N into MV. So that's 50 into 38.50. And that gives us. So technically over here, your face value was of no use to you. You could directly move on with the marked value. Next. Raki invested 12,500. So this is a total investment, A, I and B, in shares of a company paying 6 dividend. This is dividend rate, D%, per annum. Per annum, she bought rupees 50 shares. This is the face value at rupees 62.5 each. Find her income. We need to find income. Remember, formula for income is nothing but dividend percent. The dividend percent upon 100 into number of shares into the nominal value or face value. So we need N. Now to find N, we will do investment upon marked value. What is the total investment? 12,500. Marked value is given as 62.5. Once we work this out, this turns out to be 200 shares. Alright. Next. Income. Very simple. Dividend percent 6 upon 100 into N we just found and into nominal value 50 or face value. This turns out to be the income, which is rupees 600, and you have to write per annum. And that's your answer, guys. Very simple sum. Move on to the next one. Ramesh buys 100 shares, rupees 100 shares. So when they say this, it's the nominal value at a 20% premium. So MV will be 100 plus 20, that's 120. In a company paying 15% dividend, this is your dividend rate. Find MV, that we'll do normally only, his annual income and percentage income. Percentage income is nothing but your yield rate or profit percent. Let's look at the first subpart. The market value is nothing but nominal value plus premium, which is rupees 100 plus 20, which turns out to be rupees 120. First subpart tackled. Second subpart, annual income. For annual income, we always need number of shares. So we have to calculate investment upon MV, right? Actually, hold on. They've said market value of 600 shares. So MV of 600 shares or investment of 600 shares, investment in 600 shares will be 600 into 120, and this will be rupees 72,000. All right. Now, number of shares they've given us, we don't actually need to write this. Number of shares they've given us as 600 shares. Okay, so income is equal to nothing but dividend percent. Same formula again and again. Dividend percent into n into face value. So dividend percent upon 100 into n into face value. That gives us, what is the dividend percent? It's paying 15% dividend into number of shares is 600 into NV. NV is 100. This turns out to be rupees 9,000. And lastly, percentage income. What is the percentage income? Percentage income or yield rate is nothing but income upon the original investment into 100. Our income was 9,000. Original investment is 72,000 into 100. This turns out to be around 100 upon 8. And when we work this out, 100 upon 8, the yield rate percent, 100 upon 8 turns out to be 12.5%. And this, guys, is these are your three subpart based answers. Let me just highlight it for you. Third part is yield rate. Second part, this is your income. And first part is this. Let's move on. Right. Let's look at this one. Mukul invests 9,000 in a company paying dividend of 6 per annum when the share of face value 100 stands at 150. So this is NV here and this is marked value. What is his annual income? And if he sells 50% of his shares at 200 each, what is his gain in this transaction? All right. So firstly, let's talk about his investment, that is 9,000. Whenever they talk about gain in the transaction and they mentioned dividend and income, always find number of shares. Number of shares is investment upon marked value. Now this will be at marked value 1. That is MV1 is rupees 150 and MV2 when he sold his shares is rupees 200. So investment upon MV1 will be 9,000 upon 150. This turns out to be around 60 shares. So he bought 60 shares for 9,000 bucks. Okay. The NV is rupees 100. we've given us. What is his annual income? Annual income is equal to what? Dividend percent into N into NV. This becomes 6 upon 100 into N, that's 60 shares, into NV, that's 100. This turns out to be rupees 360. Now, if he sells 50% of his shares at 200 each, what is his gain in the transaction? Now, so 50% of his shares, which is equal to N2, is nothing but 50% of 60. That is equal to 30 shares. Now, selling price, or the MV2 which he sells it at, is rupees 200. So what he earns from this, or his earnings, is equal to MV2 into N2. Alright. So that is 30 into 200. That's rupees 6,000. What is his gain in this transaction? Alright. We have to find his profit. So this earnings is nothing but like his selling price. Okay, think of it like a business transaction. So the earnings are nothing but his selling price. And what was his cost price? His cost price was nothing but the MV1, what he bought it at, into 30 shares. So what he bought it at was 150 into 30, and that becomes rupees 4,500. So what was his profit or gain? His profit becomes SP minus CP, which was rupees 6,000 minus 4,500, and that becomes rupees 1,500, and this 1,500 is your final answer. 1,500 becomes your final answer. Let's move on. Next. So if you've noticed, these sums are just formulae based. If you know your formulae, you can't go wrong. A company with N 4,000 shares, put down the data first, okay, in all the sums, at a nominal value of 110, that's face value, declares annual dividend, so dividend rate, calculate total amount of dividend paid by the company. Simple. So income, or the dividend, is equal to nothing but N into NV into dividend percent by 100. This becomes 4,000 into 15 upon 100. So this becomes around 40 into 110 into 15. This works out to rupees 66,000. So total dividend paid by company. Total dividend payout. Let's look at the next subpart. The annual income of Shahrukh, who holds 88 shares in the company. Now N here is 88 shares. Okay. So what will be his annual income? Is nothing but N into NV, again same formula, into dividend percent upon 100. So N is what? 88. NV given is 110. Dividend percent is 15 upon 100. Let's go ahead and calculate this. You will get rupees. 1452. This is what Shahrukh earned on owning 88 shares of that company. If he received only 10% on his investment, find the price Shahrukh paid for each share. Now, this, when you read this, usually people get confused, but it's actually that main formula which you are missing out. Yield rate percent into MV is equal to dividend percent into NV. And we have to find the price he paid for each share, or we have to find the MV. So MV is equal to dividend percent into NV upon profit percent or yield rate. Let's look at the dividend percent they gave is 15, NV was 110, and they've said he makes a 10% profit on his thing. So we'll get 15 into 11. So he paid rupees 165 for each share. This was the marked value at which Shahrukh bought his shares. We have a total dividend payout. These are your answer statements. Always box your answers in the ICSE. Your paper looks much neater. And it makes the corrector's work also easier. So technically that's good for you only. Alright. So these were 5 sums we've done today. 5 sums which will summarize the entire chapter number. Summarize entire exercise 3A for you. You do these sums, you'll be ready to face any sum from exercise 3A. These are like your type 1 sums. I hope you enjoyed the lecture. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll meet you in the next lecture about shares and dividends. Bye guys. Best of luck for your ICSE.